Hey folks, thanks so much for joining me. Tonight we're going to be tackling the XL Challenge, a right royal battle part 1 by Harry Watson, and we're going to try and do the whole thing using just one named function. And that function is XLookup. It's probably in the title, it's probably in the thumbnail, it's not a great reveal, but I'm hoping that this shows you that you don't need to know all of the functions, all of the fancy tricks in order to compete at one of these challenges. It's about the problem solving and how you tackle it. If you want to grab this case to follow along or even to solve yourself, you can get it for free at FMWC UK, the home of the UK XL Championship. We announced this a couple of weeks ago with a video that we think is pretty funny, but I'll let you be the judge of that. And the entire season costs just £15. This gets you access to 6 cases, 3 from online qualifying rounds and 3 from the live finals, which will be held in London in September. Anyone from anywhere in the world can sign up and take part. You'll get access to all the cases as the season goes on, but only people who are based in the UK are able to qualify for that live final, where the UK XL Elite will compete and the top UK champion will win a spot in the Microsoft Excel World Championship Finals in Vegas in December, complete with flights and hotel stay. We're really excited to be launching this. For me, it's all about the community. This is how I learned to excel. The community is fantastic. They're so full of knowledge, so happy to share, so generous with their time. And I really hope to help build up a little bit more of that here in the UK. Without further ado, let's jump on over to the case and start our timer. And we can see here the normal layout that we'll have for these types of cases. We've got an introduction. We've got some bonus questions, some levels and some extra tabs. This is actually an answer version, so I'm going to hide the answer sheet. You wouldn't normally have that. You also won't normally have ticks and crosses telling you if you got things right or got things wrong. You just sort of have to do it based off of the examples and hope for the best. So let's read through the instructions. Harry says, "Good morrow, welcome to the UK chapter. The sample case has been written to give competitors a glimpse into the format. In the words of William Shakespeare and the humble MVP Giles Mail, once more to the breach, dear friends, once more, or close up the wall with our British competitors in the spreadsheet bin," quoting the XL World Championship theme written by Giles Mail. This case consists of 5 levels with 3 bonus questions. Typically, later levels are more difficult, and in other cases, they may have more levels or be more difficult. We've got a Kings and Queens tab showing us some data, so let's have a look. We've got the monarch, the start and end reign, second reigns, whether they died, the house and the battles they fought in. And we've got a timeline which has where people, events that took place and what year they happened in. I will say this isn't my first time tackling this case. I did record this entire video once before, but it froze on this frame for the majority of it. Not very useful for following along or seeing what's happening. So we're going to try it again. That time I did it in 19 minutes. I do have the audio to prove it, but we'll see if we can beat that this time. But given that I've started the timer nearly 2 minutes ago and I've not stopped talking and I've not started solving, that might be tough going. Typically, I like to leave the bonuses till we've got going, but sometimes you can get bonus answers pretty easily, pretty quickly. So it is worth reading them, he says, skipping over them. And for level 1, we want to know which royal house each of the monarchs belong to. I'm actually going to do a little trick here and turn this into a table. Giles Mail talks this through on the FMWC UK YouTube channel, start to end to, which I'll link to, where he shows us his way of solving this. And I'm going to turn this into a table with Control T. And I'm going to call this table D for data so we can access it nice and easily. And that means for this, we can look up our monarch in the table, returning from the house. And we don't need to go back to the other sheet to fill that in. We can now drag that down because it's table references. We don't need to worry about locking cells. And we can pull that in. The reason I've done it over here is so we can keep that example answer to compare with what we've done. And I don't know what I did there. I think I must press Control and Enter by accident. There we go. Level 2 says, what year did they come to the throne? Now, normally you'd use text split or text after or something like that to get the years out of here. We're going to have to be a bit fancy. We could go data text to columns, but I'm going to rely on good old flash fill. If I just start typing these out, we can see it's already picked up what I'm doing. Copy those into there, get rid of those ones. I'm going to call this start year. I'm just going to show you a different way of doing this. We're going to look up, we're going to use the dynamic array functionality to look up all of these at once. And I'm going to get it from here. So I'm going to press anywhere on the monarch column, press Control and space to select the whole monarch column, and then do the same start year. Now, we could have done that the way we did before. I'm just showing you some other ways of doing it. Level 3, how many of the battles did each monarch fight in? You will find these in column I, and the battles are separated by commas. You may wish to use text before, text after, and number value, or XLookup, because that's the only function apparently that we know how to use. So I'm going to copy these battles. This time I am going to use text to columns. We know it's delimited, that's what he said in the question, by a comma. And now we've got those battles, if I can work out how to format things, like this. There we go. Looks like the most is 4. We could now manually fill this in, but I'm going to use a little trick. I'm going to put the numbers 0 to 4 along the top. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a blank cell in this row and return from this row based on where that first blank is. So that's why for these ones with no battles, we're returning 0, where it looks like we should be returning 1, but it's because some people have 0, and for these ones it's 4, not 3. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to call this hashtag B, number of B. I'm going to look up, I'm going to select a blank cell somewhere and just lock it with F4. We're looking for that blank value in there, and we're going to lock that top row, and that gives us the answers. Let's look this up in the monarch, returning the number of battles. Excellent, that looks like it's worked, so let's spread that down, spread the love. Let's do it properly. Let's see, where are we going? 120. I tried to skip an entire level there. And hopefully, whoops, those are our answers. They are indeed. Where were you during the war? For each of the battles listed, work out which monarch fought in them. You may assume that each battle listed was only fought in by one monarch from the list. So for this, we're going to need this, but we're going to need it as a column. So let's copy that down to there. And let's work out which monarch was in each of those. So I'm going to copy these down like this and build it up, but so that I don't accidentally put anything in the wrong place, I'm just going to color the first and last ones like this. Grab those two columns, pop them there, and now grab these ones and pop them there. Try that again. There we go. And then I'm going to grab all the kings and queens, put it there, and then double it again. Double twice, you get 4 lots. There we go. And then again, we're going to use flash fill. So we're going to go Battle of Falkirk, Battle of Knockburn, Battle of Halidon. I don't know if it's because I'm making mistakes or because it's got blanks, but it's not finding it. So we're going to prompt it and hope for the best. Select where we want it to go to Data, Flash Fill, and that looks good. We don't have to worry about full stops. We don't have to worry about brackets and years. So now we should be able to look up our years, our battles in that column and return this. And there we go, we're getting Edward the 5th, and I'm guessing that's because of the blanks. Yep, that will be because we got blanks here. I just want to know, using the fact that they've just got extra characters after them, is that alphabetically? This is just a little side quest. We're going to look that up. We're going to pretend that we didn't split out the things, and we're going to return from there. We're going to use match mode of 1. Are these the same? I know I'm using a different function, it's just because I'm going on a side quest. Okay, they're not all the same. Which one did that not work for? This is why I did it the normal way. I was just being curious then. Cool. Okay, cool. That doesn't work. Good to know. But we will be using that match mode in this next one, because this one is Who Remembers the Plague. For each of these, state the name of the monarch that was on the throne when these events happened. You need to look up the events in the timeline and compare them with the dates. So let's get the years. Oh, that must be from this column. Not sure what's going on with the formatting there, but occasionally people try to trip you up with formatting. So that's the year these things happened. Now we need to know who was on the throne at that time. So for this, we're going to grab these two columns, but also this column here. I'm actually going to do this here. Okay. I'm just going to move those over like that. And what I'm going to do is just duplicate these ones where we've got someone in twice. So Edward VI is in twice, and Henry VI. So Edward IV and Henry VI. So we're going to grab Henry VI, but this time it's 1470. And we're going to grab Edward IV, but this time it's 1471. And what we're going to do is we're going to look up these values in here and return the names, but that's going to give us NAs. And that's giving us NAs because this is giving us the year they came to the throne, and we know because these are all based on years that we're not going to have any crossover years, and it even says it in the question itself. But we can use that to then change our match mode, and it will actually be match mode now. We're going to set it to -1, except match or next smaller. And I'll show you what that's doing in a minute. Let's just check that it is indeed giving us those correct answers. It is fantastic. So the way this is working is if I take this whole block and sort it by the second column, we've now got them in order by ascension year. So, for example, for this one, it's looking for 1587 in this list. It doesn't find it because it's not in the list. And so -1 says looks for the next smallest item, the closest value you can find going down, which is Elizabeth I's year. Let's use one that's in the middle, 1343. That would be between these two. And because it's looking for the next smallest item, it rounds down. So it rounds down to this one to get us Edward III. There we go, 10 minutes in, we've done everything other than these bonus questions. So bonus question 1 is there's a mistake in the battles column. One of the battles took place after the monarch died. What year did the battle take place? No, not all monarchs died at the end of their reign. Have a look at this column to find out more. Okay. So we're going to need to get the years out of this a second. There we go. Going to call this year for end year. And then on our two special ones, I'm just going to manually change it to 1483 and 1471. Right, and now we're going to find out death year. So this is trues and falses, which is basically ones and zeros. So we're going to times it against that. And if it's a 0, when's it a 0? It's a 0 if we didn't have it. If they didn't die. Okay, so we don't care about them for the purposes of this. What else do we need? Well, we need to know these years from the battles. There we go. Flash Phil has worked out what I'm doing. That's very helpful. And we need these values. I think I can just copy it and paste it there because it should be a multiple of the number of rows, so it should just fill them all in. Death. Battle. So for this, we want to know this is less than this. And that's going to give us trues for the people that died, which we can get rid of by timesing this by this column here, because they're already zeros, and that should only give us one value, and it does, and it's this one here, because the Battle of Verneuil was in 1424, whereas Henry died in 1422. So all we've done there is we did a comparison and we did some multiplication to with trues and falses to get to that. So let's pretend this was a massive data set and we can scroll through and find it. We can find it in that list by doing XLookup. We know that everything is going to be a 0 other than our answer, and our answer is going to be positive. So we're going to look for the value 1 in this column, returning the monarch with a match mode of 1, next match are bigger, and it says it's not right. Henry V, it is Henry V. There's a mistake in the battles column. One of the battles took place after the monarch died. What year? Okay, I do this all the time. I return the word answer when it wants a number, or the number answer when it wants... Yeah, it's a very silly mistake. I make it all the time. I'm sure other people do too. Make sure you read the question before you answer it. Which monarch reigned for the longest period of time? Cool. So I'm going to do end year 1, which is going to be this, except for you, for whom it's 1461, and you, for whom it's 1461 as well. No, for you it's 1461, and for you, and yeah, that's what I meant, 1470. Okay. S year 2. Let's just insert some cells. I need to learn that shortcut. Start year 2, end year 2. Let's see, so that is 1471, 1483, and this one is 1470, 1471. I think I don't actually need to do this. I think it works out the same regardless, but let's go with end year 1, take away start year, plus end year 2, take away start year 2. And now we're going to look up a very big number in this list, returning the monarch using match mode of -1. Which monarch reigned for Edward III? Why has that not worked? Ah, it's because my things are in the wrong column. Ah, that was very silly. That should be there, and that should be blank and blank. There we go. That should not give us the right answer, but actually paid attention to what I was doing with the data. Which monarchical house was involved in the most battles? So we're going to need the names of the houses. We're going to need the version of that without duplicates. Copy and paste it. Remove duplicates. We're going to copy this, and we're going to paste it with one of those. Pop those up there for a second, and we are going to find out how many battles these people fought in. So we're going to look up that name in the house, and if it's a match, we're going to return the number of battles. Otherwise, we're going to return 0. Now, that, if we copy and paste as opposed to dragging across, should return 0s for everyone. Perfect. And if we drag that down, it should be the number of battles in the right house. Now, we can't use sum to add those up, but what we can do is on this second line, make it add the row above. And now we can look up a very big number. You know the drill. Here, returning from here, using, of course, match mode -1. And that thus ends the demonstration. There we go. So this little XLookup trick where you're just adding things on, and yeah, basically we were making this a 1D array. We were saying look up the house name in the house. If it's a match, return the number of battles, otherwise return 0. It's a little bit of a weird trick, but it works. It means we can do this whole thing with just XLookup. So there we go. I just reset it. I meant to pause it, but we did that in under 19 minutes. So I think it was about a minute faster, and they got distracted by a little side quest along the way. So yeah, let's have a think. Let's see. Really good case, really good fun, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you try it yourself, and I hope you see that you don't need to know all the functions in order to do one of these things. Go grab the case for yourself, give it a go, keep in touch, reach out on LinkedIn or in the comments below if you want to find out more about the competition, and until next time, keep excelling.